Hello everyone, this is Money Mom. Welcome to the channel. Today I wanted to do a video about how skinny people really stay skinny. Let's get started and talk about it. One of these is going to really surprise you. I've been kind of interviewing, talking to some people and observing some things. Now many of these are from my daughter, but not just from my daughter, from one of my friends who's on the thin fit side. And I'm going to tell you what she did with her husband, by the way, who had started gaining weight. So I'm going to get right into it. Okay, the first is, and this is one thing I've noticed about my daughter. She doesn't eat when she's satisfied or she's had a meal. And even if it's something that's her favorite. So let's say that she got done eating a meal and someone offered her, because she does have a little bit of a sweet tooth, somebody offered her a piece of chocolate fudge. She would probably say, oh no, I'm satisfied, I'll have it later. Now, many people that struggle with their weight, even if they're satisfied, they'll still want to eat that chocolate fudge. My daughter knows that that fudge will be there for her at another time. I think people that have a weight problem are afraid if they don't eat it then, it may not be there when they go to eat it. I actually really think that. So my daughter does not eat, and my friend and a couple other people I know, if they're satisfied, they don't eat past that once they're full. And it feels very physically uncomfortable for them to give themselves more food past that full point. For example, on Thanksgiving, my daughter did not have seconds or thirds. She ate what she wanted. She even left some of her food. And that's another thing I forgot to add to this list. I noticed this with my daughter, because I'm mostly with my daughter here, rather than friends as much. But I noticed it with my one friend I'm thinking about too. They don't mind leaving food on their plate. They might, take it and put it in a little container for later, but they will leave food on their plate. They're not members of the clean plate club. Okay, number two, they don't think about food. They don't even give it a thought. They eat to live. They don't live to eat. And if they're hungry, they eat something. Number three, they really, really pay attention to when they're starting to get full. And I've noticed this with my daughter. She'll say things, and this is since she's been young. She'll say, I can start feeling like I'm starting to get full, so I'm going to go ahead and put this food up for later. I say, hey, not a problem. And she said, no, I don't want any more of this. I'm not going to have dessert. I'm just going to put this up and have it at another time. Okay, number four, this is really important. My daughter's never eaten just because it's mealtime. As a matter of fact, there's been a lot of suppers that she doesn't eat supper. I notice she's hungrier in the morning, and she eats more at the beginning of the day than at the end of the day. And so and I notice also, and I've read this somewhere, she always eats breakfast. And I've heard this, that many thin people, not everyone, many thin people eat breakfast. But there's a lot of times that she skips dinner because she's just not hungry. So, like I said, she doesn't eat because it's, quote, meal time. Okay? And then this another thing. Number five, she doesn't have a list of no foods, and neither does my friend who's on the slender side. They eat what they want, but they just eat smaller portions. They don't label food as good or bad. Okay, number six, now this, I don't know if this was with my friend, but I noticed this with my daughter. My daughter carries a water bottle with her everywhere. She doesn't generally drink her calories at all. She never drinks juice, she never drinks pop or any drink. She generally just drinks water. Now, I don't know if this is for every thin person. I'm mostly going by a couple people and a few other people from my past that I'm thinking of that several of these resonate with. Okay, number seven. If they start to gain a little weight, and that's happened to my daughter. When I say a little weight, I'm talking a few pounds, okay? My daughter's never been overweight, not even at all. But if they start to gain a little weight where they physically feel a little bit uncomfortable, they just stop snacking and they just kind of decrease some of the food. Because during my daughter's high school years, she was dancing a lot, but she was snacking quite a bit. And she put on a few pounds and she said, oh, I don't like the way I feel. She stopped snacking. It was just as simple as that. Okay, number eight, my daughter never weighs herself. I know about what she weighs, but she never weighs herself. She just goes by how her clothes feel. And I notice that a lot with people that don't overeat and are not overweight. They don't sit and obsess over the scale. They just go by how they feel in their clothes and how they physically feel about themselves. Last but not least, and this is the most important, this is the main thing that I notice mostly about my daughter, is my daughter does not pay attention to other people and what they look like. She doesn't notice if someone's overweight, thin, She doesn't even pay attention. It's not even on her radar to pay attention to that. For example, have you ever had a friend say, oh, I got together with Sally Joe recently, and boy, has she put on weight. My daughter wouldn't even notice that Sally Joe put on weight. She doesn't even think about it. Bottom line is, my daughter uses food to fuel herself. She eats when she's hungry, and besides that, she just doesn't think about it very much. That's the thing. She's not obsessed about it. She's not into, oh, I got to think about healthy eating. Oh, I got to, be a certain size. My daughter just does not think about it at all. Now, the one thing I was going to tell you about my one friend. One of my friends, her husband had started to really put on weight. And the friend that I'm talking about has never had a weight problem. She said, do you want me to really help you? And he said, yes. And she said, okay, from now on, I'm going to dish up your plate. She didn't put him on a diet, but she dished up his plate, and whatever the family ate, he ate, but he just ate a smaller amount. And he would kind of complain about it first and say, God, I'm still hungry. And she goes, no, you're not. She goes, it's in your head. She goes, you're going to get used to this. So after a time, he got used to eating what he wanted, but just decreasing his portions a little bit, and ended up losing 50 pounds. So thought that was kind of food for thought. So let me know what you guys think. If you have never struggled with your weight, if you've always been thin or fit, whatever word you want to call it, slender, just normal weight, and you've never struggled with it, tell me if any of these things I mentioned resonate with you and why you think it is that you've never struggled. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. That's all I have to say for now. I love you, I appreciate you, and I sure hope you come back for tomorrow morning's video. Bye-bye.